AMD won't give you FSR4 on Vulkan games, but modders just did. Today I'm showing you exactly how to get FSR4 running on Vulkan titles, not thanks to AMD, but thanks to OptiScaler. An incredible open source project from the modding community and honestly an all-time favorite of the GeekJ channel. Hey guys, welcome back to GeekJ, where we make tech, tutorials and gaming simpler and better. So here's the deal. AMD's FSR4 officially only works on DirectX 12 games and only if you're running RDNA 4 hardware. Vulkan titles completely left out, no driver level injection, no official support, zero, nada, nothing. But the team behind OptiScaler figured out a way to translate Vulkan upscaling calls through DirectX 12, which means we can now force FSR4 into games that were never supposed to have it. So the game we are testing this on today is Enshrouded, a Vulkan-only title that's been stuck on an older version of FSR3. And honestly, I don't think they can do anything to improve even on that. And guys, the difference is a night and day, so let's get into it. So for this setup, you're going to need three things. First, the latest version of OptiScaler. That's, as of the filming of this video, the version 0.9.0 pre-10. Now, this is a test build, so it can only be found on their Discord channel, as I've been saying multiple times on my videos. This is where you find the latest builds. I'll drop the invite link in the description below so you can grab it directly. And if that link does not work, I will also link their GitHub. And on their GitHub, usually they have the latest Discord invite link that always works if they update it for some reason, like they did a few weeks ago. Second, if you're on RDNA 2 like me or RDNA 3, you'll need the FSR4 int8 binary. And you can find this by searching on Google FSR4 int8 download. It's a single DLL file that will drop into the game folder basically. I cannot provide a hosting website because usually those hosting websites and the links change because of where the users host them. And yeah, the easiest way is to just Google the search terms, and the first 2 or 3 results are always fine. You can download that DLL file from there. And third, this one's RDNA 2 specific. You will need modified drivers to enable FSR4 support on our generation of cards, because I'm on RDNA 2 as well. And it sounds scary, but it's actually straightforward. And if you need the full walkthrough on that, check out my complete video guide right here, I think. Hello? So RDNA 3, RDNA 4 users, you don't need the driver mod. You're good to go out of the box. The only thing RDNA 3 users need, as we mentioned above, is the FSR4 int8 DLL file, just like the RDNA 2 users. Now, if you've had a previous version of OptiScaler installed on Enshrouded, we do need to clean that out first. So to navigate to your Enshrouded installation folder, I usually just go through Steam and then I go manage and then browse local files. And this is the main installation folder. What we need to do is find the remove optiscaler.bat file and just double click on it, as you can see over here. Let's do that right now. I'm gonna say yes and then press enter on my keyboard. OptiScaler removed. Ignore the warnings about missing files. Press any key to continue. We're gonna press any key. And just like that, the old version is gone. We're starting on a clean slate. If this is your first time installing OptiScaler, you can just skip this step entirely. Now let's get the new version in. As I mentioned before, this is the only place you can find the latest version. It's their own Discord. So just click on this latest build link over here, and then click on this arrow or on the letters, and you will download this archived file. So as you can see, this is the latest version. We're gonna open it with 7-zip, as this is a 7z file, and we're going to extract all the relevant files from the OptiScaler download into Enshrouded's main installation folder. And usually that's the folder where the game's main executable lives, and in Enshrouded case, it's kind of straightforward because it's the direct file. We don't need to go into any subdirectories. So usually I just select everything and then deselect the ones I'm not going to use. So I'm going to deselect the upscaler because we're going to use the newer version, and I'm going to deselect the setup underscore linux.sh as this is a Windows machine. And just like that, we're just gonna drag and drop everything into the main installation folder. Now, if it asks you to overwrite anything, just go on ahead and do that. I'm gonna select replace all. If you're on Windows Explorer, you might have a different UI, just say yes to all. Now, if you're on RDNA 2 or RDNA 3, this is where the FSR4 int 8 binary comes in. So this is where I have saved the binary. I'm gonna right click and copy this, and then right click and paste. Again, it's going to ask us if we want to replace the existing file. I'm just gonna say yes. Now, if you want to update all of your upscaler binaries to the latest versions, as we've showcased in previous videos, you can use DLSS Swapper, and I'm gonna just go on ahead and do that for the DLSS binaries included in the game, as I'm one version behind. You can check the XeSS versions, but as you can see, they are already on the latest version because OptiScaler comes bundled with the latest version of XeSS. So I'm gonna close out of this one. Once the files are in place and we already have, through DLSS Swapper, updated everything we want to, we can just go on ahead and run the setup underscore windows.bat of OptiScaler. And as I say in all of my guides over here, you have to select the options that are recommended and correspond to your hardware specifically. So for this game, as you can see, it says for Vulkan, use winmm.dll. Okay, so that's the prerequisite. So I'm gonna select 2 for this specific game instead of 1, which is the, let's say, default for any DirectX games. This is a Vulkan game. Specifically, they are instructing us to use winmm.dll. So we're gonna select option 2 and then press enter on our keyboard. Then, as I mentioned before, you need to select the options that correspond to your actual hardware. Are you using an NVIDIA or AMD Intel GPU? I'm gonna go with 1 because I am on AMD hardware. So choose the option that corresponds to your hardware. Then I'm gonna press enter. And obviously it is asking us if we want to use the DLSS inputs. I'm gonna say yes. Now OptiScaler setup completed successfully. Enjoy, press any key to continue. I'm gonna press any key and we can launch our game basically. Okay, we fired up Enshrouded. You saw the pop-up on the bottom left corner of the screen. So OptiScaler has installed successfully. And let's see what we are working with. So once you're in the game, head into your graphics settings over here, display, as you can see. We need to make sure an upscaler is enabled, FSR or DLSS in the case of this game. As you can see, FSR3 was pre-selected, but now I do have access to DLSS. So basically OptiScaler intercepts these calls, so it needs something to hook into or inject itself into. So now we're gonna close, then play. I'm gonna go into a private world I've created only for testing. So now that we've loaded into our world, I would suggest you press the insert button on your keyboard. And as you can see, it defaults to FSR 2.2.1, a pretty ancient version of FSR. And from here, you can select FSR4 as your upscaler or XeSS, whatever is working best for you. We've tried XeSS before in its latest version. It doesn't look that great, but it does improve the performance of this game. But FSR4 is basically a game changer. So yeah, you'll see it listed right here, and it is worded kind of weirdly. We need to say FSR3.x with DX12 instead of the normal FSR3.x that we usually select. So select this one, and then don't forget to click on the button that says Change Upscaler. As you can see here, the active upscaler is still 2.2.1. So I'll click on the button. Then I'm gonna deselect the Use FSR Input Values, save INI, and close. And basically, this is how the game looks with FSR4 enabled. Again, I'm gonna press Insert, and as you can see, it clearly says Vulkan FSR3 with DX12, and it is using the 4.0.2 int8 version we actually copied into our game folder. The input is DLSS. We have disabled the FSR input values, as usually the DLSS input values are a lot better and higher quality than FSR. And this is basically how the game looks. On quality, we're getting around a stable 60 FPS experience. And keep in mind, you might need to restart the game for everything to take effect. Sometimes, not always, because this is still a release candidate. It's on beta, so yeah, bugs are gonna be there. But yeah, just like that, FSR4 is running on a Vulkan game. Something AMD officially said was not possible for some reason. So yeah, if you want more proof that this is running on FSR4, we're gonna do the crazy thing. And as you can see, we have selected Ultra Performance, and sometimes you're gonna run in crashes or bugs. And sometimes the bugs are gonna look like this, which looks like we have a Vaseline smeared situation over here. So what I usually do to fix this, I just press Insert, and then I select a different kind of upscaler like XeSS. And if it doesn't crash, it usually fixes the issue. And then I just select FSR3.x with DX12 again, change upscaler. And as you can see, it has fixed it. And yes, this is running on ultra performance, as you can see. So this is why we're getting 10 more frames per second. Wow. But yeah, anyway, the game is not that well optimized, as you can see, but we are upscaling from 360p to 1080p. So it's 3 times upscaling. And this is kind of insane because it does look normal. It doesn't look horrific, right? Anyway, going back to our display settings, gonna set this back to quality. As you can see, we do have that same issue again. I'm gonna press Insert, select XeSS, change the upscaler. Then I'm gonna go back to FSR3.x with DX12, change upscaler. And it pretty much has fixed the issue. And the game looks pretty amazing. So the vanilla experience, as we've seen in many of my previous videos, the built-in FSR3 basically that ships with Enshrouded, it's serviceable, but if you look closely at fine details like foliage, distant textures, and character edges, you'll notice smearing and a lack of sharpness, and also there's a lot of shimmering, pixel instability, like it's kind of, yeah, bad. But on the other hand, FSR4 through OptiScaler, the difference is significant. This is the FSR4 injected into Vulkan experience, and this is the quality mode, and as you can see, we get none of those problems. Even at the tips of these trees, everything is very stable, clear, and we get zero ghosting right now, as we haven't implemented any kind of frame generation. But yeah, the difference is significant, especially if you try it for yourself, because I don't know if the YouTube compression is going to allow you to experience this as I am experiencing this, but yeah, I get sharper edges, better detail retention, and the temporal stability is noticeably improved, and way less ghosting and simmer, even if we enable some kind of frame generation technology. And the performance, we're actually seeing slightly better frames per second on top of the visual upgrade. And this is basically the power of modern reconstruction algorithm versus an outdated one. Now, here's where it gets really fun. FSR4 handles the upscaling, but we can layer lossless scaling on top for frame generation. So yeah, we just open lossless scaling, we select our frame generation mode, and I'm going with LSFG 3.1 fixed mode 2 times multiplier. I mean, I can go with a lower setting over here, like 75, doesn't really matter. Then I'm gonna press scale. Go back into your game and look at the FPS. From 56, 55, we're hitting double that, which is 110, 109 FPS. So we went basically from a solid 58 to 60 stable to well over 100, and the frame pacing is smooth. And basically for me, this is the 1-2 combo. FSR4 for image quality, and then lossless scaling for raw frame count, and on an RDNA 2 card in a Vulkan game. So this is kind of wild. I also want to mention that in my testing, FSR4 through OptiScaler looks noticeably better than the latest XeSS implementation in this game, and I can basically demonstrate this right now. Just gonna hit the insert, and then we're gonna go with XeSS and change upscaler, save INI and close. We're still using lossless scaling, as you can see, and yeah, it's not as good. The detail retention is sharper for FSR4, and the temporal stability just holds up better frame to frame. And as you can see, if I move the camera around, we have a lot more ghosting, a lot more instability in the pixels, and you can see that in the trees over there. The foliage really gives it away, in my opinion, as you can see, where especially the light comes through. But yeah, like once we move the camera, the pixelation is getting real with XeSS, even the latest version, unfortunately. So yeah, let's go back to our favorite FSR4. As you can see over here, we're using the 4.0.2 int 8 version. And yeah, we're back to near perfection, basically. Now, your mileage may vary, but depending on your hardware and resolution. But on my 5800X3D and 6800XT combo at 1080p, FSR4 wins this round pretty convincingly. Now, if you come across some bugs, because honestly, there are going to be bugs. This is a pre-release test build running through a Vulkan to DirectX 12 translation layer. Sometimes things will get funky and you might see flickering, some visual artifacts, or that, you know, like Vaseline layer we saw before, or your colors might be kind of crazy. Just don't panic. Remember the solution. And the solution, if the game doesn't crash, obviously, I've found to work most of the time, is really dead simple. I showcased it like moments before we hit insert, and after we see the OptiScaler menu, we switch to a different upscaler. I usually go for the XeSS, and then I switch back to FSR4, and the visual issues clear immediately, basically, just like that. Now, if you're seeing crashes on launch, make sure you removed the old OptiScaler files completely before installing the new version. A clean install solves like 90% of startup issues, but Also, I think that the OptiScaler devs have done an amazing job, because if there are old files detected, the installer of the new version will practically tell you, and it will try to clean those files itself. But the best practice is to just remove the previous installation of OptiScaler manually, as I showcased in this video. If this helped you unlock FSR4 on your Vulkan games, smash that like button and subscribe. Hit that bell so you never miss a GeekJ video. If you want to take it further, consider joining the GeekJ squad for early access and exclusive perks. You can also drop a super thanks if you're feeling generous. And one of those exclusive perks is the shoutouts. So shout out to my architects, Paris STR and Kostas Dari. You're still and will always remain legends. And also thank you to the donations you guys put in. I wasn't expecting that, and I am extremely grateful. I don't know if you want your name to be known. Let me know in the comments below, and I will make sure you are mentioned, but greatly appreciated. So yeah, drop your results in the comments below. What game are you testing this on? I'm pretty curious to find out. And just letting you know, I read every single one of your comments. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Bye. Bye.